I have not tapped into my full power. Everything else I was ready for, man. I would say be a real fighter, man. You take your time. Don't rush to anything, but you have to take real fight. Be realistic with yourself and work hard and make sure that when you take those risks that you're ready for it. But don't wait your whole career. You want to be a real fighter. You want to be a real champion. You don't have to, beat the toughest guy every time, but certainly make it fair.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome everybody to the MarVic Productions. It's another day. Another
Beautiful
dollar,
day.
Beautiful day.
Yes,
sir. We had lunch earlier, making some business moves here, and today we're back in the office production, and we've got a fiery guest here today. We've got someone very special, really our first connection to
The
boxing world. Victor, I'll let you do a proper introduction.
Yes,
Who's our boy here?
Alrighty, man. So today we have the pleasure of having Giovanni El Cabron Cabrera. He's a professional boxer, 21, coming off his first defeat with Isaac Pitbull Cruz, which was on the co-main event of Errol Spence and Crawford. So if you guys haven't checked that out, go watch that fight. It was a great fight, by the way. And Gio, man, how you doing, brother?
Doing great, man. Thank you. Thank you for bringing me on, gentlemen.
Of course, brother.
Good to see you.
Sir. Yes, sir.
It feels great to be here. Obviously, the last. Where are we gonna go with this? The Pitbull fight. We'll start there, man. So yeah, it was just a crazy experience to have, man. I mean, I feel like I really got to the mountaintop of what boxing is. It doesn't get much bigger than Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. I think it was the most prolific welterweight fight since Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. That's what they were saying.
I would agree. Yeah.
T-Mobile
People are
Arena.
saying arguably the best fight in the decade.
Yeah, nah, man, and obviously for to see you in there, for me as a fan, a boxing fan, which when I first met you, I met you at the. It's funny how everything is like a full circle because Regis is about to fight on Saturday. But when I first met you in person, it was at the Regis Cepeda fight with our boy Jesse. Shout out to Shredded Labs. And it's just crazy, man. Like, I had friend request you on Instagram the day before, and then the next day I run into you at the fight with Jesse. So it's just crazy how life happens, law of attraction. But I remember telling you, in your face to face there, that you would be a world champion one day. And to be able to see you in that moment with Isaac Pitbull Cruz, I felt proud, in a sense where I'm like, yo, this is Gio. I told this kid I believed in him, and now he's here. So, just want to tell you, bro, we're proud of you, man.
Thank you so much,
where
man.
you come from.
Yeah, and it was a really good performance on your end. I know that we had that lunch, prior to everything, going down, and you're a very confident individual. You believe a lot in yourself, which is huge. One of the things that Raul really highlighted with our talk was just talking about how the reel we just posted, where he's saying that a lot of fighters, do the preparation, they do all the camps, but really when those big lights come on, like all of that kind of disappears, like the mind game settle in, and some fighters fall apart. That didn't happen with you. Like, it felt like. I mean, that we want to. I guess we're jumping right into it,
moment, and I'm sure that was. There's levels to this boxing game, and that fight, Crawford, Errol Spence, that's the top of the mountain, like you said, and just to everything that comes with it, the media, all that. I thought you handled yourself very well, and it's impressive to be able to see that from you.
Man, I appreciate it. Before the pandemic, I went 18-0. I fought. At the time, more undefeated fighters than anybody in boxing, than any prospect, certainly. Until someone can prove me wrong. I think Stephen Fulton, actually, I did not know this, but I think this guy had the same amount of undefeated fighters. But me and him are literally like the only ones in history to have done that. Someone brought that up to my attention, and I was like, "That's
to do what specifically, Gio?"
Yeah, I beat 7 undefeated fighters in 20 fights. I mean, no one's really done that in boxing history. But apparently, we both were doing that around the same time. And so when I got to this fight, they offered me first Maxie Hughes. He challenged me online. Yeah, he challenged me online for a title eliminator in England. And I didn't hesitate. I did not hesitate to say yes. Well, then things were kind of getting murky there because, I think Eddie Hearn decided to go a different way with them because they're in the zone. And then I got offered to fight Cambosos in Australia. And I said, fuck yeah, man, let's do it, man. I'm trying to, you know,
You're trying to
get
move
there.
up.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
this is, you know, I'm not getting any younger. I'm right now. I'm in my prime. I think I still have. I'm still getting better. I still have a few more years of development, so that's exciting for me because my potential has not even been tapped yet.
Right.
And you know, just having that, those two guys ended up thinking it was a better idea to fight each other than to fight me.
Yeah, Cambosa
So
and Hughes.
yeah, so they fought each other. They had a really good fight.
Do you think, like, within those discussions, do you think it really was like the management teams or the what do you call them, the brands, like not coming to an agreement, or
The
do you think it was the promoters? Was it them not being able to figure it out, or do you think they were avoiding you? Or
Well, I mean, it just there's no upside to fighting me. I mean, I'm a tough, unique style individual, and I'm gonna make your life a living hell the whole fight. You
It's
know,
a risk for them.
it's a big risk for them, and you know, if they can make more money for less risk, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
You know, pardon my
That's
French,
true.
man.
That's true.
But so yeah, so that happened. My name started floating around in all the top 10 fights. You know, people were talking about me potentially fighting Lomachenko. Then Pitbull Cruz. I said yes. They're like, well, we didn't even tell you how much. I was like, I don't care, man. I want to fight.
that's the guy I want.
Yeah, I want Pitbull, man. You know, because I want to be. It's like Achilles said, man. I want to remember for the wars I was in. You know, my name will be remembered always. In León, Guanajuato, in Mexico, they saw what I did, and all the TV cards and all the scorecards and Sky
They had
Sports
you
all
winning.
over Europe and all over Mexico. They many people believed I won the fight.
Right, they had you winning.
So
I
I'm
was
glad.
listening to the Boxeo Azteca TV, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Chavez Sr. that was commentating that fight. And when Pitbull came out of the 12th round, according to Chavez Sr., he needed to knock you out to win the fight because he had you ahead on the scorecard.
Exactly.
So it is, you know, it is what it is. But I'm sure you got a lot of experience from that big moment, and you know, you got to showcase your skills as well. I know a lot of people that thought you were gonna get knocked out in the first round. Hit me up.
Everybody said,
yeah, hit me up and said, "Man, your boy Gio, I'm impressed." You know, that people personally hit me up.
Oh,
Yo, Gio, he impressed me. Like that, he got my respect. So
Did you hear that as well? Like within the boxing community,
absolutely,
like motherfuckers doubting you and shit. I'm sure it's
course.
normal. Yeah.
Of course. You know, because everyone has been thinking that I've been talking this big shit, you know, relatively unknown in the media for the things that I've done. You know, I believe that even then I deserve the respect as a prospect coming up as a title contender. But this is my point to what you were saying earlier about being cool and collected, man. I know that I've earned my spot to get there.
Yeah.
I felt like I had already proven myself time and again. So this was something delayed for me. I'm like, you guys are barely catching up. I was born for this. I was ready for this.
Yeah.
You know, I was ready for this. So when the stage came, I was ready. It was like, they're like,
you
what
knew
the
it was your
hell?
moment, yeah.
They're like, who the hell is this? Who does he think he is?
Yeah.
Gio, where does
Because-
where does that level of confidence come from though? Like what would you attribute it like for you? You know, because one of the things I like to do, or I think we like to do on our podcast, is really unpack, you know, in this case is the fighter, the person. Like most people are going to recognize, oh, that's the guy that fought Pitbull, you know, he performed greatly and all that. But as a person, like the inner you, like where does that confidence come from? Is that something
Is it something you had as a kid growing up already, like a chip
just-
on your shoulder, or was it something you developed?
Well, yeah, man. I always moved in and back and forth from Mexico to Seattle, actually, back and forth when I was a kid. And when my parents ended up getting divorced when I was a kid, we moved to Chicago. My mom took me to Chicago, and that's when I was like, oh shit, like, you know, this shit is different over here. Like in Seattle is nice, kind of like progressive leftist. And I came to Chicago, and every neighborhood was separated by race. So I was like, damn, like I didn't know it was really like that, you know. It forced me, you know, just being around the inner city kids. It's like, holy shit, like these kids are on a different level of
Different
not
mindset.
only shit talking, but like shit that they go through, the experiences they had. Yeah, man, I ended up
What part of Chicago did you grow up? The west side or the south side?
South Side. You know, I was living in Canaryville, Bridgeport, and then finally what happened was I dealt with, you know, being bullied, and I was bullied into a gang basically.
Oh, wow.
You know, I was forced to join one, and thank God my father came back into the picture, and he saved my ass, and we moved to the suburbs.
Okay.
And that's when.
So your life was headed downhill, if you will.
I felt like, I felt like a
Was
bad.
this high school or what?
This was middle school, man.
Middle school,
I
yeah.
was like, it was like, and the most pivotal. It's the most pivotal time, like they had us out there hanging out on the block, doing bad shit. I mean, real small shit, but like it's like either I felt like a coward for even like joining and doing that. I just felt like I felt like a bum, man. So
at the time, you felt like a bum.
Yeah,
dude?
I felt like a bum because it's like, man, I betrayed myself. Yeah. I betrayed my morals, and then that shit just stuck with me for a long time. Thank God my father came back into my life when we moved to the suburbs. And then, when I moved to the suburbs, now I'm like kind of like, my hair started to grow out a little bit. I look kind of like a skater, but I still acted a little ghetto from being in the city. They're like, look at this fucking poser. They did not know what I just had gone through in the city. You know what I mean?
It's funny how you touch on the topic of your father coming in back to the picture. I was actually just watching Boys in the Hood yesterday. I've never fully thoroughly seen the movie. I've always been more of the menace to society.
Yeah.
But pretty much the moral of the story from Boys in the Hood that I got out of it is how much of an impact a father influence has in an individual as they're growing up. So this kid obviously grew up, his friends didn't have that. Their friends, one was trying to be a football player, the other guy was more in the streets, and ultimately it cost the brother his life, and he ended up getting killed too. But the kid who had his father in the picture and taught him the right morals, he had a decision where he could go with his friend and get revenge for the football player, Ricky, or, just say, this ain't me. So as he was going there to commit a crime and commit a murder, he gets off the car. And, he kind of remembers those morals that his father taught him. So, I think having a father figure, it definitely makes a big impact in your life where you're able to guide you the right way.
What made Pops come back to you?
Well, my parents were separated. He just couldn't be away from us, my father's my hero. I love my Pops to death. And, yeah, he just said, no, I can't be this distance between my family, me and my kids. So he came back into the picture and he moved us out. We went to the suburbs. But, yeah, man, I just always felt like, it didn't fucking work for me in the city. It didn't work for me in the suburbs. I was like, and then that was like my deciding factor to like every person that attracted me in culture was, leaders of the counterculture, rebels, people who didn't follow the rules, man. And I'm like, man, I'm trying to fit in. I'm trying to do the shit that everyone is supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. This shit is not serving me. Mm-hmm. So I said, fuck the culture, basically. And I said, I'm going to do my own thing. And I'm not going to pick a sport that you're deciding. Pound for pound, I believe in myself that I'm just as good as anybody in this world. Mm-hmm. And what better way to prove that? I thought I was like, boxing.
Wow.
I was at a party. Some friends. My brother was a football player and a wrestler, and we were at a friend's house, and it was about 2009, and Manny Pacquiao was fighting Miguel Cotto, and everyone packed their room, and I see this little Filipino guy, and I'm like, big deal. Yeah. I was like, who is this guy? And everyone's like, no, this is Manny Pacquiao. He came up from flyweight, man. He moved up this many weight classes, and he's welterweight champion of the world, and he destroyed Cotto. Right. I mean, it was a classic fight. I mean, it was a very good fight. He beat him up. But I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow, this guy's like me. Look, he's a little guy like me. Mm-hmm. And everyone is coming around, and everyone's like giving him so much praise, so much respect for like the things that he did. And I was like, you know what? I think I can do something.
How old were you at that time, 2009?
I was about 16.
16 years old. So normally when somebody gets into boxing, they start at a very young age, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, your story is very different. Mm-hmm. Like, it's usually, my dad used to be a boxer or grew up around a gym. But the way you just broke that down, like, your ass was like, hey, man, like, the culture's not serving me. You had such a high belief in yourself. So you thought about a sport that would match essentially your character, right? And then you're like, boxing is it because... Yeah, I mean, it's still, team sport, like you still have coaches and all that, but it's really you.
No, it's you. It's you 100%, man. You go in the ring, you're by yourself.
Right.
You get up to run in the morning, you're by yourself. You're in the sauna cutting weights.
By yourself.
Brutally, you do that shit by yourself. You get hit, and no one there to help you, man. So once I was like, I started to say, like if I am going to continue living, man, it has to be for me. Mm-hmm.
Not for anyone else.
Yeah, not for anyone else, man. I was like, I'm going to build myself. I'm going to work my ass off, and I'm going to become a champion, Mm-hmm.
So let's go back. You're 15, 16 years old. You see Manny Pacquiao fight. Obviously, he destroys Cotto. Everybody's giving him praise. From that day, did you go back to your dad? Hey, Dad, I want to try boxing out, or you took yourself to the gym?
Well, pretty much after that, we got inspired, and we have like an intercambio, you know, when we exchange presents in Mexico. But we continue that tradition here. I got my brother's name, and right around that time, funny enough, it was a combination of the Pacquiao thing, but also the UFC was very big at that time. Guys like Chuck Liddell, Anderson Silva, you know, like Rampage, Rashad Evans, Machida, like all those guys. There were so many fucking characters, GSP. Man. It was so popular, GSP. And everyone was wearing tap-out shirts, you know, in high school and shit. Yeah. So we put on the gloves, you know. And my big brother was, you know, he's a lineman and on the kickoff team, like, you know, bulldoze people. And all of our friends were bigger, stronger. I was like a little guy. I didn't get played at all, you know. Another reason why I was like, man, fuck everybody kind of thing. So I started doing my own thing. But I got a pair of boxing gloves, and we put them together. And we would invite buddies and, you know, like, it didn't matter what size they were. I would put on the gloves, and they would hit me, but I would hit them back, and I would hit them in the face. And depending on how brave they were, maybe they get hit once or twice, and they're like, oh, okay, no more. But I was like, yo, I feel that I can still go. So as like I always surprised everybody, like, damn, did you see that?
So this is how you start discovering your strength physically.
I knew that, like, my chin too, you know, if I get hit, I don't cower, you know, I want to come back and fight harder.
I'm not gonna lie, man, you got a chin, bro. Like, I was very, very impressed by that. Yeah.
Fucking the crimson chin over here.
Yeah. Your story kind of reminds me of Sergio Mora. Sergio Mora grew up in Montebello, and he kind of was fighting people in the backyard as well, and that's how he got into boxing, to my knowledge, that I know. The Latin Snake, for those that don't know.
Yeah, Sergio Mora's a great guy, man. Yeah.
So, you're discovering your potential. You're discovering what you're made out of, and then what comes after that? Like, I want to.
I look up a gym.
But you weren't fighting in school or anything like that, or were you?
Not really, no. Because I mean, I was talking shit though. You know, like that's a part of the reason too. It's like I was a little guy, you know, and like in high school, everyone is trying to fit in and stuff, and like I'm not just gonna fucking like agree with whatever. Yeah, the group is saying, but I'm like a little guy, and like they're like, "Yo, like, who are you to be like disagreeing over here?" I'm like, "Man, fuck you," you know? You know, like that kind of thing. What you mean? Yeah, what you mean, man? You guys are a bunch of lying ass dudes. No, but I started.
Who said that? Not me.
Yeah, but like I was like one step away from getting my ass kicked all the time, you know. And my brother was like, "Hey, man, you know, that's just my little brother. Like, what are we gonna do?" And once I started boxing, everybody who was one step of like maybe fighting me, it said, well, I don't know now. Now they don't know. I was like, yeah, now you don't know, do you? You know. Now you got a question. No, I didn't really fight in high school. Thank God, you know, boxing. So I started boxing at a gym, Argo Summit Boxing, on like one of the like southwest side of Chicago, and I started training my ass off, man, religiously. I would go every day, do my run, sit up, push up, blah, 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 the classic boxing. I went into a rabbit hole of Mike Tyson and learned about Cus D'Amato and like his philosophy of fighting and mastering of fear, you know. All these things were like, wow, man, this is so incredible, so inspiring. It's a different kind of strength, you know. Like, I don't know anybody who faces fear so often and masters it, you know, and that's what was so appealing to me too, you know.
So you fell in love with the sport right there.
Fell in love with the sport right there. I had my first amateur fight. I believe it's one of the fastest amateur boxing knockouts in history. I think Mike Tyson has the fastest, where he had like an 8-second knockout. Mine is 10 seconds. And when I hit
your first fight, my
first amateur fight, and when I hit the kid and he dropped down, I felt my spirit just surge with energy. Woo. Yeah. Now I could not believe that I was capable of doing that. Wow. And now I was a boxer, you know. I was born as a fighter. And I could never shake it, you know. The power that I felt from training and succeeding and winning in that fashion, man. I was like, there's no going back for me.
After that, how many amateur fights did you have?
I had about 65 amateur fights. In 2013, I was Golden Gloves champion of Chicago. Then I came to LA, actually, and thought I was gonna conquer LA at 19 and become the champ. Yeah, walk into gyms like Ali, like the champ is here. Like hell no, man. I came in here like oh shit. I started training at Wildcard, virtually unknown. No one really paid too much attention. I was fighting.
How does that work? Pardon the interruption, but how do you get connected to Wildcard?
You just walk in.
Yeah, how does that?
I moved here with $300 at 19. I got an apartment, got a job, factory jobs. Hustling, man.
Yeah.
I was dishwasher. I did every kind of fucking job.
So you were just determined, like, I got to go to LA.
This is my vision.
It's my vision.
Make it happen. Why LA?
More competition, I'm assuming, like sparring-wise?
Well, of course, this LA is like a hub. Like, all the best people in the world come here. Wildcard, especially, since, Freddie Roach is a legend, trained many world champions. His trainer was the late, great Eddie Fudge, trainer of Joe Frazier. That's where his old school knowledge comes from. He's one of the last relics of boxing linked to the old world. I mean, who can you say after Freddie goes? Right. I mean, it was Emmanuel Stewart, probably the best before Freddie. Nacho Bernstein in Mexico City as well. All the old greats.
OGs.
What's that like, brother? I mean, having Freddie in your corner.
Virgil Hunter, I guess.
Virgil Hunter.
Yeah, he's old school too.
What's that like, having a legend like Freddie, all that knowledge, deposited to you directly?
Oh man, it's crazy. Well, but if I want to tell that story, we'll say, I came to LA, I trained my ass off. I wanted some amateur fights, but I was like, I'm not ready for this yet. So I said, I still need to learn more. I went down to Mexico and I started.
You weren't pro, right?
I wasn't pro. Okay. I was amateur. I was like, I can't do this. This shit is hard, man.
Yeah.
So I went to Mexico and I started training down in Mexico and I became champion of León, Guanajuato. Arriba León, Guanajuato, cabrones. I became champion of León, became champion of Guanajuato, became regional champ, and I won a bronze in the National Olympic tournament that they have there. All during this time, Uriel de Jesus, if you guys want to follow him, Uriel de Jesus on Instagram. He's a great photographer. He's a professor in film, and he's just a really great artist, a great friend. He started this documentary called Guantes y Navajas, and it was a cultural piece on cockfighting and boxing and what that represented about Mexican culture. Well, it won the Guanajuato International Film Festival, and it won all the prizes for short documentary. He even took it and showed it at the Cannes Film Festival. Wow. So that and was just like fate to me. And he filmed, and I was like the main protagonist on the boxing side of it, and following my journey and telling me who I am and why I believe in boxing.
Is he the one, before your fight, you posted a video of you training when you were like...
Yeah.
He's the one that recorded that?
Yeah.
I seen that video. That was a good video.
Yeah. He took clips that he didn't use from the doc, and he made that new video, man.
So let me ask you this, Joe. So moving back to Guanajuato, what was that transition like for you? Was it something easier? Did you get accepted by the culture there?
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, I went to kindergarten in León. I went to second grade there, a lot of primary school years. I go to my neighborhood, La Colonia Obrera, and they all know me. They knew my grandfather. My grandfather was a shoemaker there. My pops grew up there. My grandma still lives there.
Your name is known.
Yeah.
They know me. I was a kid playing on the street. Me and my brother would get into fights sometimes, So they knew we were los gringos,
Los güeros.
About to say, yeah.
Los güeros. Hey, güero, gringo. Yeah.
People, think you're... You get probably white a lot, like they just look at you.
Some people
like,
think I'm like from Singapore, man. I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
So you said you became champion of Guanajuato. So you went pro in Mexico.
So all of that together really made me like, man, how can this be coincidence, man? I'm getting a documentary. I'm winning championships. I'm traveling around Mexico.
It's like you're calling.
I'm back with my people in León, and everything is working out. I was like, this is the sign. I'm gonna go forward, man. This is real. I'm touching it.
Yeah, you're living it.
And I had cameras following me. It was an amazing experience. And I said, and I had been saying this for a long time in interviews. When they asked me what happened, I was like, well, when it was time to turn pro, I couldn't justify to myself fighting for pesos when I could be fighting for dollars.
Right.
But now the peso is what's gonna make me who I am, because now the people of León, after the Pitbull fight, I've gained the respect of my city. They know who I am, and I wanted I want to do a lot of crazy things, man. But yeah.
On that. So then from there, you come back to the USA. You go back to Wild Card.
I didn't go back to Wild Card. I went back to Chicago. I started. I partnered up with a guy, John Nocita, a lawyer from Chicago. He used to be a pro boxer, and my manager, who was also a part trainer, Sammy DeTusa, both from Chicago, both Italian guys from Chicago. I won 18 straight fights with those guys. 18 straight fights.
And they're all these fights were in Chicago.
Many of them. I mean, all over. There were casinos in the Midwest. Some.
So would you say like after every fight, your level of belief was increasing? Like
absolutely. I mean, I kept doubling down on myself, and I feel like they're a bit reckless in my handling. You know, a lot of people want to say it was like great matchmaking. I'm like, yeah, right. It's it's gambling with a person's career, you know, and not caring about the consequences. But it was a matter of pride for me. I said, what, you think I can't beat this guy? I can fucking beat him. I'll show you. Oh, he's undefeated. So what? That's the third one. Give me another one. Give me another one. Damn. Give me another one. And I started making a name for myself, beating undefeated fighters. What better rise? Right. I want to earn every grit, every tooth, every blood, every drop. Everything. I earned it, man, and I earned it.
And that's how you got, you know, a co-main like that. It's like this kid is not just talking, also, but you're actually, like you said.
That's why I was ready, man. That's why I was ready. I was calm. I mean. Like,
that's what they gave it to you.
I thought, I've always kind of liked Pitbull. I always thought it was pretty cool, but he's kind of mamon, man. Pinche mamon. Like yeah, well, I don't know, man, but it's like I really believe this asshole thinks he's a Pitbull. He's like trying to intimidate me, bro. You're a 5'4", man. You're 5'4", bro. You're like my nephew, bro.
More of a Chihuahua, you
say? Yeah. He's a strong ass little 5'4". Yeah. You know what I mean? But like this guy's sitting here trying to intimidate me and like say stupid shit. Like I respect him, man. But like they did everything to minimize my presence in the media, man. Like I had Waka Flocka walk me out. They didn't even fucking show it. Yeah, they didn't even show it on TV. I'm like, damn. Like this is pretty cool, man.
They only showed when you were in the ring already getting introduced.
Yeah, that was some big bullshit, man. And they kind of told me after the fight they were trying to like rush me out of the ring. Some people think that I just left the ring. They're like, no, here, come this way. And I was like, man, I was so fucking pissed off, man. I believe that I did good enough to win the fight, man. I mean, the fight was really tough. First 4 rounds, I think I boxed beautifully. Rounds 5 and 6, I kind of stayed there because I was like, I don't know if I can't keep moving like this because my legs are going to be gone. So I stood there in the middle of the fucking ring with one of the most devastating punches in boxing. And
you made him miss.
Yeah, made him miss a lot. I counted him some good times. He cracked my ass many good times. Well, not many good times. But look, I was in control a lot of the rounds and making it so difficult for him to do anything that when he did land a punch with my hands down, voila, everyone was, wow.
Right.
This kid is still standing.
But the funny thing is that even though he got those nice punches in, you looked unfazed.
I was surprised to myself because, at the end of the day, as much confidence as I had and I showed my belief in myself, I thought maybe I'm getting lucky. He cracked me and I didn't feel nothing. And I was like,
"Oh shit, you had thoughts like that going on?"
Yeah. I was like, maybe I'm getting lucky. Who knows? Yeah. I'm not stupid. Yeah. This guy's dangerous. If he hits me with one of those again, he may knock me out. I didn't feel it. He hits me again in the 6th round with a big shot. Nothing happens. 7th round, I won. 8, 9, and 10 were very close, but he was landing some shots, and I was like, every time he would land something, I'll be like, closer, I'll be like, I'm not going anywhere. Nothing's fucking happened to me. Fuck, I must have waited a little too long. Go. 10, 11, 12. I fucking knocked him down in the 11th round. In whatever round they took a point, he tried to headbutt me constantly, right? Yeah. For like 2-3 rounds. He's jumping at my head. They took a point and they gave, in all of the cards, they made that round even.
A what, 8 round or
9?
The judges made it even?
Yeah, the judges. That was some big bullshit, man. I don't know what world that's okay. He never hurt me. You know what I mean?
So that should have been a 9-8 round? Or
it shouldn't have been even. That's
I should have won. I should have won 10-9.
Because they took a point away.
10-9. And then I knocked him out in the 11th round, and they didn't count the knockdown. And he beat me by 1 point. If they had just given it fair, whatever. It's boxing, shit happens, but I would have won on both scorecards. So I mean,
That's interesting.
had I dominated the fight, there would be no fucking question. And this is boxing, and I know that. So,
Yeah.
but now I know I have this. There's not a lightweight in the world that's stronger than me. I have not tapped into my full power.
Right.
And at the end of those rounds, you saw me backing up Pitbull
Yes.
Cruz, which no one in boxing did. Not even Gervonta Davis. He could say whatever about his hand, blah,
He
blah,
was
blah. Pitbull knows he got dropped. He was backing up. And at the end of the fight, he wanted to get outside the ring. He did not want to be there, and I did.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that. You know, you said the way he was during the conference. Like, I think he was trying to intimidate you because, in his mind, this was your biggest fight. He thought maybe you were gonna get.
You probably thought you were going to give in to the lights and all
Yeah,
the pressure.
because
Yeah.
to his defense, a lot of fighters that he's fought just go in there and, in my opinion, they already lost the fight before they even entered the ring.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like that guy he knocked out in one round. Like that guy was just there to get knocked out.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
Let's
then
be real about the state of boxing and how fights are set up. I mean, come on. Like
So
this.
I'm thinking he was thinking you were gonna be another pushover. But when the bell rang and the fight really started, bro, I had you winning the first 3 rounds. You know, you went in there, you were boxing nice, he was pressuring, but you were also making him miss. 11 and 12 were my favorite rounds from you because you started pushing him back. And when you started pushing him back, you had him in the corner, you let your hands fly. And I was just like, man, if he would have done that,
I would have done it sooner.
you know, a little sooner, because when I saw you come out on the 11 to 12, I said, okay, I think he understands he's the bigger man because
Yeah.
he's taking his.
Yeah.
You took his best punch already.
Yeah.
You ain't going nowhere. Naturally, you were the bigger man, and I feel like if you would have just
But part of me was hesitant. I mean,
because you didn't know, right? You
I'm
said
like,
it.
what
You
if
didn't
I'm
know.
getting lucky? What if this guy's
Yeah.
gonna knock me the fuck out?
That's
like,
the mind games that come
you know
into
what
the
I mean?
game.
And but everything else I was ready for, man. I was ready. I felt like I made it very easy in those beginning rounds, but like I just feel like I should have just gone forward, man. And now I know,
Yeah.
and I
It's
know
a
that,
learning
and I
experience.
know that he is doing everything to just
avoid you.
ignore me.
Yeah,
blah
he
blah
doesn't
blah.
want the rematch.
Man, I would love a Pitbull rematch.
That'd be dope.
I would love a Pitbull rematch, man. But I'm his fucking nightmare, man. A lot of people in Mexico lost respect for him because he said a bunch of bullshit after the fight. He's like, something about like not that I was running and hugging the whole fight. It's like, man, we had a good fight. I respect you. You respect me. We had a little gamemanship. He said that he was gonna eat me, which is kind of fucking weird. But then I said, well, I'm hungry too,
cannibal.
and we're gonna eat tacos de perrito.
Ooh.
That was classic.
Yeah. Nah, man, it was a great fight, bro. I feel like there's a couple of times where he was just lunging in, throwing wild haymakers. Well, I was like, man, I just wish Jill would have stepped back a little bit and bam, hit him with a left. Because
It's so weird though because he's so low.
I believe you could have dropped him.
Yeah. So what's that?
I
What did
did
that
drop
mean to
him.
you?
Oh yeah, that's true.
What did that mean
11.
to you? Meaning like he's so low. Like you didn't expect him to be that.
I don't know. I just I felt like, but it was a little hard because he was so short.
Right,
And
right,
I was
right,
like, man, I fought plenty of short guys before. It's not gonna be nothing. I love fighting short guys. They always eat my uppercuts. But this guy was like a freaking ninja turtle, man. Did you see him? Like his shell is like
Yeah.
it's insane. It works really well for him. No,
Stiff, yeah.
he's a skill. He's a
He
skilled
got a
fighter.
big ass head too. He got a big ass
And
head.
he's got a head like a rock, man. He's got one of those cabezas yucatecas.
That's
you know?
why what's his name broke his hand, huh?
Yeah, Gervonta, yeah, man.
hitting that.
He's got a brick head, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, bro. So before you even get to this moment, man, one of the questions that I have for you is, how does somebody, up and coming fighter, who doesn't have the promotional company, doesn't have the big amateur background, Olympic pedigree, how does a fighter like that land a big fight like this? Co-main event, pay-per-view. How does that happen?
Well, first and foremost, I believe that like my record was getting slept on, and boxing is like a marketed product. Back in the day, media would tear up. They would talk shit about Ali. They would talk shit about Joe Frazier if he didn't have a good performance. There wasn't this ass-kissing game that's going on by all the promoters because at the end of the day, they found that it's much easier to sell you a product than to gamble on business, which is boxing, right? This fighter may do good. This fight may not do good. Let the cream rise to the top. if we're smart businessmen, we're like, why would I gamble? Why don't I tell you who's good? And that's that, you know? But that only works for so long. And then everybody gets exposed at the top when they're not ready for that fight.
Right.
Well, 90% of fighters are marketed, beat a bunch of guys that really had no business fighting. And then when they get psychologically convinced that they're good enough, they take a risk versus someone good, right?
And then they lose.
And but many times, even if you get to that point and you're psychologically ready, the promoter did that to serve you up for a champion that he's trying to move up. Many different tactics of that nature. So I would say be a real fighter, man. You know, you take your time. Don't rush to anything, but you have to take real fights. You have to take fair fights. Otherwise,
what you got it or not?
What kind of? Well, I mean, I couldn't believe myself. I mean, these guys really allow themselves to believe they're knockout kings. Pitbull thinks he's Mike Tyson. Get the fuck out of here. Clearly not. Clearly not.
Right.
You know, and who's telling him these lies, man? You know, like he knows who he fought. Yeah. Everyone and his last opponents that he fought, you know, he had been knocked out a few times. You know, they're all on the downhill. He took a risk with Gervonta, and psychologically he had that. He was ready, but he still lost, and he still fell short.
Look, people tell me, oh, he fought Gamboa, but yeah, Gamboa was 40 years old. He already came off getting dropped, you know, from Crawford, Tank. And I think someone else dropped him before. Psychologically, he's out. You know,
exactly.
Like, once you've been dropped like that, you don't ever come back the same.
So I would just say, you know, as a fighter, man, you know, just take your time, but be realistic with yourself and work hard and make sure that when you take those risks that you're ready for it. But don't wait your whole career. You know, you want to be a real fighter. You want to be a real champion. You don't have to, you know, beat the toughest guy every time, but certainly like make it fair. You know, that's how, even in the amateurs, my trainer, one of my first trainers, Lou Taylor from Margot Summit Boxing, he would match me up fairly. I was 2-0. He would look for a guy who's an amateur who's 2-0. If I was 6-0, he'd try to get a guy who's 5-1. And that's how I've always been matched. So I was always ready for a guy that was just as good as me. Sometimes I fought guys that were better than me, but I outwilled them, you know?
You got that heart, man.
And you're saying pretty much like there's too many fighters right now that are fighting... I don't want to disrespect, you know, but like fighters that are not as good, just to bring up the numbers, the track record.
Yeah, if I bring up my track record and if I bring my followers up, I can convince you guys of something, and then now I can monetize on it, and that's where it comes to. You know, like everybody wants to be Floyd Mayweather, but Floyd Mayweather was a champion before he became Floyd Mayweather. Before he turned, when he was Pretty Boy, when he started winning championships, he started like changing into the business mind and started like, you know, this whole different marketing scheme. That was genius, but he earned it already. Right. I mean, he went to the Olympics, he won a bronze, you know.
And at that time, he was already fighting champions and beating champions.
Yes.
Judah.
But they see the end result of Floyd, and everybody wants the, you know, the old thing, and like, you know, it's like, I mean,
forget the process.
The process is everything. The process is everything.
So you're not a big fan of that then? You're not a big fan of people stacking up the record with some bogus fights, if you will?
I mean, I don't care. I think that's fine. If you need that, that's okay. But guess what? Like, the promoters are trying to fucking service a polished turd and make it seem like we got a golden champion.
You're also saying be real then. Be transparent about like, hey, yeah, your record might be 30-0, but you're not really
like how many times have we seen fights where commentators are just biasly kissing some guy's ass, and we're like, what the hell? Like, this guy, they're like, he's garbage. He lands one jab. Oh my god, look at that beautiful jab. Like, what?
We've seen it with the Shakur and Del Santos fight.
Right.
Yeah, the commentators were super.
Let's just be fair. Just be fair. That's all we ever want for is just a fair fight, fair shot, and
some honesty and transparency.
Honesty.
Yeah.
So, do you feel that in a sense, commentators have kind of lost their.
Well, there's gotta be,
because back then it wasn't like that, right?
Right. Well, I mean, I believe.
I feel like they would sell both fighters a lot back then.
I mean, think about like in the 40s and like 50s, in the days of Madison Square Garden, the newspapers would be like Jake LaMotta, bum, through the fight. You know, he was a great middleweight champion, gave Sugar Ray Robinson his first loss, but there was no mercy from the media. Like, that's what we need: fair, merciless shit. Fair judgment. If this guy didn't have a good jab, say he didn't have a good jab. If he had a good left hand, say he had a good left hand. Did he have trouble in the beginning rounds? Yes, say that. You know, don't try to. It's like a lawyer trying to. what do they call it? Leading the witness. Like they try to lead the audience into whatever outcome they want.
Right,
yeah.
right.
So that's nonsense.
Unfortunately, that's even beyond boxing. Like, not to go off on a tangent, but that just happens with fucking everything now.
Yeah.
Where I hate to say it, but it's really money. It's like people are bought out at this point, you know, like they try to extend the life of something, but it's silly because, you know, if they're focusing just on one side, if you really think about it from a business perspective, like, you would make more money if you sell both sides. Like, why just focus on one?
Yeah.
Because it's going to make, like, all right, it's going to have people go, oh, this guy's really good because we're being told he's really good. We're going to believe that. And then this guy's like, we're not going to watch that.
Right.
But if you know.
Everything now is like clickbait. It's about views. Let me go ahead and.
Everyone was saying, like, Pitbull doesn't deserve the rematch with Gervonta. Pitbull's this, Pitbull's that. Oh, he's so basic. He said, no, he's not, man. I'm fucking good, you assholes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No.
You know what I mean?
They're trying to downplay you. That's really what they're doing, bro. But
like that, plain and simple, man. I'm unapologetically just me. You know, I just want fair dues, fairness. Fairness is all I ask. You know,
give the man his respect.
That's
Straight
it,
up.
baby. I'm willing to fight anybody in the lightweight division. I'll fight Devin Haney. I'll fight Shakur Stevenson. I'll fight Gervonta Davis. Who do you guys want to fight? You know, who do you guys want to see fight? I just want a fair fight. You know.
Talking about that, man, that division 140 is stacked, or is it 135?
I'm 135.
Yeah.
You know, Haney just vacated the belt. Shakur is there. A couple of good tough guys are there.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. You know, all the belts are vacant now. Which
so it's all up for grabs.
Which leads me into the next thing. What
Please,
I wanted
sir.
to share with you guys today is this.
Please, sir.
I was talking to Adrian Clark, who is the CEO of Fighters First Management, the management company that I work with. My manager is Jolene Mazzone. They were convinced to bring me to San Antonio to start fighting more frequently in front of the Mexican public. Because to build myself for a fight or two, and then have, you know, people I feel like I've gained the respect of the Mexican fans, and now just to continue to build energy on that and come back after a win or two and say, hey, look what I've done here. Look at the following now.
Smart.
Like let's now I get another big money fight. And I really like the idea. And the thing that sold me the most is like, okay, like the Mexican fans respect you now. Build yourself in front of the Mexican fans. But then it occurred to me like a light bulb, boom. It's like, why should I do anybody favors anywhere? I have no contract with any promoter.
There it is.
The promoters aren't doing favors for me. As a matter of fact, they're stacking the odds against me.
Right.
You know, if you're not signed with it, that's the problem. Nobody can take not a single promoter can take credit for me. So why would they invest in me, right?
Okay.
So that's where the independent mindset, business mindset for this came from. And I've always admired Sugar Ray Robinson. You know, he owned a block in Harlem, drove a pink Cadillac. You know, really ballsy shit. He was one of the first guys to start getting money for the gate at his own fights. You know, he wanted a piece of everything. He wanted a piece of TV. So I said, now's the perfect time. I went to Leon. I just got back from Leon, Guanajuato. I called my old amateur trainers there, Monica Gonzalez and Oscar Gonzalez from El Gimnasio Rocky y El Gimnasio Casta Guerrera. I said, I want to fight in Leon. I want to talk to the promoters there. So please get me in contact. They got me in contact with Michi Munoz from Del Bajío Promotions. And the last big fight that had been there was when Julio Cesar Chavez fought in Leon in El Domo de la Fe, or in El Palenque in around 2013. So since then, there's been nothing. So as far as my knowledge, professionally, I'm the best fighter to ever come out of Leon, Guanajuato. With all due respect to all the fighters, I have the best record. I've reached the highest stage. Nobody's really gone further than me so far in the professional ranks. And I love my city, man. I've always wanted to fight in front of my people. I mean, it's where I'm my grandfather's legacy. You know, my father was a shoemaker. Leon, Guanajuato is the shoe capital of Mexico. It's the leather capital of Mexico as well. You know, so man, it has the population of over 2 million people, the same population as Chicago. how can this not be another fight mecca of
Sure.
Mexico? I mean,
Right.
there's Mexico City and there's Tijuana. Let's bring it home to Leon, man. I want to put my city on the map with this fight.
Nice.
It is set up to be the biggest fight in the history of Leon, man. So with a bunch of Leon talent, you know.
As the undercards and stuff.
Oh man, it's gonna
so
be
you're
legendary.
also, in a sense, you're putting them on.
Look, and the crazy thing about this, no fighter has been able to do what I'm doing unless they're already champion of the world.
Right. And
Unle-
have the funding and backing
Exactly.
up, support and all that.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, guys like Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez, they can do it only after being pay-per-view king, you know?
Right.
And like I said earlier, you know, I always said that like I couldn't fight for pesos when I could fight for dollars, but now the people are bringing me up in Leon, and that's one of the most beautiful things that I could ever have backtracked on, saying now it's the peso that's gonna give me what I need, man. And that's a beautiful, like, you know,
That's dope, man. And
plot
you're-
twist.
Yeah.
Like, boom, coming back home, bringing
Full
it back
circle.
home.
It's really good though that you're also open-minded though, because if you would have been very like stuck on your ways, like it has to look a certain way and it has to be how every other fighter has done it, shit, you know, that opportunity would have come and you wouldn't have seen it as an opportunity. But you're very like one of the things we picked up like when we first met. I don't know if you were about to touch on it, but like you're very unorthodox, not just even in your fighting stance and all of that, but even just in your thinking, where you are thinking business, you truly are, you know, looking out for yourself, and you're not falling for, call them traps, if you will, of the game, where a lot of
Fighters.
boxers get suckered into. And, you know, I remember from our first convo, they'll get some fights in, but then down the road, they're fucked. There's no more money or something went wrong.
Not only that, but then you got issues like Ryan Garcia and De La Hoya right now. You know, he's trying to get out of his contract, doesn't want to be part of that contract anymore. So you see situations like that. So the question is, why don't other fighters become independent like that or think this way?
Well, they always get you. Well, first of all, let's talk about who the boxer is. The boxer is always the struggling immigrant class of the time, of the era.
Yeah.
You know, it was the Jews, the Italians, the Irish. It's now, I mean, it's always been African Americans as well. Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, all Southern America, you know, Eastern Europe. You know, every immigrant class of the era that is struggling are the ones in survival mode, willing to fight. And you know, unfortunately, poverty creates a gap in education, you know, and people are kind to us, and they tell us they believe in us, and they're our friends, and maybe they are, but they're always doing things in their interest.
Right. They have an
And they
agenda.
always refer to fighters as a stable of fighters. Well, like a stable of horses? What are we, like animals that you own? Or people always say, my
Property.
fighter, my fighter, my fighter. Well, you know, thank you for considering me your fighter, but I'm my own boss.
fighter, yeah.
I fight for myself. I fight for my family, and everything should be transparent, and everything should be looked on as a team.
Right.
No one's in charge, man. The boxer willingly gives up power to his corner, but never forget who's in charge, man. And you know, it's so hard because if there was, that's why I was immediately attracted to working with Adrian Clark, because he's an author. Many books he's written. One of them is Protect Yourself at All Times. And his goal is to educate boxers about the business of boxing, to learn fair contracts, to learn fair practice, to know when things are enforceable in your contract or not. I mean, I've gotten out of a few contracts already because when I sign a contract with someone, I expect you to do the things on the contract. And if I'm not happy with you, I will find a way out. There's nothing set in stone. And this is a message to all the fighters, you know. Take control of your career, you know. Always with respect. Always listen to the people around you. But at the end of the day, it's your career, it's your decision, and your destiny's in your hands. No one's taking the punches for you, you know?
So that's really good for you to
Amen to
say,
that.
because a contract usually, you know, brings rules and walls. And a lot of people think that, oh, once you sign a contract, that's it.
Yeah.
But your mindset is like, no, hold on a second. Like, there's always a way out. So
There's always
that's
a
really
way
good
out.
advice. Like, you just have to look for, you have to find that
There's
way
always
out.
a way out. Find the one thing that you're person isn't doing, and say, hey, I need you to do this. Start doing it. Start doing it now, or we're gonna have legal things.
Right.
I mean, and it's like what we're expected just to sit quietly and
obey the contract.
And the thing that pisses me off the most about people is like it's always kids. It's always kids being controlled by adults. We start off as 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. And we get in these contracts that are 5 years, 7 years long. By the time that we're coming of age, we're learning a little bit.
Right.
They always want to tell you, oh, worry about fighting. I've been worried about fighting. I beat more undefeated fighters than anybody. You know what I mean?
Worry about pain, man.
Yeah. Let us worry about the business, man. What business?
Right.
What business? We're starving out here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You literally touching on. I know you've seen it because you like comedy, but Dave Chappelle.
Hell yeah.
Right, where he literally talks about this, where he was young and words in these contracts that he didn't understand, like they just take advantage of you because of that.
Well, that's what happens, and that's why you got to have a good team behind you, somebody that knows.
But like game. For me, I'm the first guy in my family that's a boxer. I mean, my dad is one of the smartest guys I've ever met, but he doesn't know anything about professional management or boxing.
Right.
We're all just kind of figuring it out. When I wanted to turn pro, we had no idea to turn pro. It's so simple as getting some medicals done and paying a small fee at your local sport. Anybody could turn pro. That's why boxing is saturated with people who get hurt, people who don't deserve, and people who are being used as pawns, as cannon fodder. You know what I mean?
I just saw the other day, actually 2 days ago, 53 or 59-year-old man made his pro debut. And he got knocked out.
That was sad, man.
I don't know.
That
if
was real sad. Yeah.
How can you allow something like
I would
that?
sue that commission.
Yeah.
So, question for you, bro. I mean, you're very passionate about this whole. Like definitely sounds like you got a bone to pick with a lot of people, and you're like from a lawyer's angle, like you're just looking out for people and making sure people don't.
He wants
get
what's
taken
fair.
advantage of. Yeah, he just wants the whole just like he wants the transparency and honesty and the commentating. He wants it in deals. Like, is there maybe you thinking about future down the road? I mean, obviously you're young, you got a long way to go, but you got any want to maybe get involved in the board and start running some shit and making some stuff more fair?
All I know is that I'm planning to give incentives for fighters. I'm co-promoting my own fight in León, Guanajuato. It's
nice.
Set to be, it's a basketball stadium. We're in talks already with some big corporate sponsors. It's going to be televised.
Nice.
I'm going to be the main event. I get 50% of all profits of TV, of alcohol sales, endorsements, ticket sales.
Everything.
This is the Sugar Ray Robinson thing that I've always dreamed of doing, man. And a lot of people
this some real boss shit, bro.
That's some real business shit.
Yeah.
I've always tried to do it, and I failed at every corner. But my education of all the failures of trying to get little brand deals here and there, little sponsorship here and there. I mean, they all boo 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 boo, because no one saw, nobody wanted to risk any money. Nobody wanted to help, and that gave me the education. That was my education, man. I from the street, man, trying to fucking do it, man. And now I'm proud, man, that this fight and my effort and the way that I handled myself in the Pitbull fight, have gave me the respect of my people, man. I go back to Mexico, man. It was insane, man. Every door opened up for me in León, Guanajuato. Everybody wanted to work for me. The biggest city event planners of the Guanajuato Festival de Globos, Lustopia, all the biggest concerts, all the biggest events, they're like, we want to be involved. All the sponsors are going to come in for that aspect. Once we get, I'm waiting to find out for sure. There's two it's El Domo de la Feria y El Palenque, two of the biggest, coolest places in León. So within the next day or two, that'll be solidified, and then I can start bringing in all the sponsors.
Dope.
But yeah, man, I mean, people are reaching out. People want to be on the card, Now I'm a promoter.
There it is.
Yeah.
Now I'm a promoter, it's like Oscar de la Hoya style, Floyd Mayweather style, Sugar Ray Robinson style. If there's fighters that can't get fights, man.
What are we going to name this promotional company?
Huh?
What are we going to name it? gonna be the name of it.
1-800.
Well, right now,
Cabron
I'm
Promotions.
using my LLC, which is Gio Cabrera Entertainment, but I'll probably rename it more officially later on. But I didn't really know that I'd be doing this until it occurred to me when I was thinking about the strategy and the marketing for what I was going to do next, and then it just hit, boom, I can do it myself now is the time. Everything I've been waiting for is right now. So
That's dope, man. Congrats,
I'm happy for you, bro. Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
And I wish other fighters would think this way too, man. Imagine every fight, not every fighter, but
now they'll have someone to point to.
this is the blueprint. He's pioneering the movement. I don't want to say, because obviously Mayweather, obviously, big dogs, but for
like,
somebody that's not champion,
we got to be a people's champ, man.
Exactly.
You know?
And that's all that matters there. As long as, look, bro, the people is the one that's gonna put you on the face, of the planet.
It's the fans, man.
It's the fans, bro. And if the fans respect you and the fans love you, that's where it's at.
And yeah, it must be a good feeling too for your city to
go
see
back,
you,
bro.
Nothing like it.
but to see you truly for who you are. Right, where
Straight
they
up.
share the same perspective, where they know the real you, they respect the record, they give you that real love. Like, that's got to be dope. Like, to have a city behind
Back you up like that. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, that song, Mexico.
Mi bandera.
Yeah, there we go, bro.
That's funny because we're actually in talks with Santa Fe Clan to be at the fight.
Bro, that would be sick.
The Leon football team, is going to be invited. A lot
Shit,
of.
we gotta go.
we gotta go.
Oh,
I
man.
got family in.
It's going to be amazing, man. Freddie Roach is coming down too.
Tell Freddie Roach to save me a spot, bro, in the car,
Bro.
in the jet. I'll be there.
This is going to be insane, man. It's really like a dream, man. And like I'm so, not knowing what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
But
you're doing it.
But I'm doing
That's
it.
all that matters.
I'm doing
Yo,
it.
it's kind of like how you said, hey, I'm a promotional now. It's kind of like when we started, bro, with it really started with you, bro. Straight up. I'll give you credit for that. You were our first sponsor in boxing. And then that's what we were like, hey, let's start a podcast, So now, boom, we're here.
Badass,
Yeah,
brother.
so in the beginning, it was kind of like, we don't know what the hell we're doing, but,
Right.
we're just doing it. We're taking action.
Our advice would be just keep doing it.
The ground running, man.
It's the best thing because that's how you've been learning, right? You
Right.
just
Trial
said it.
by
Like,
fire. Trial by fire, man.
you've gotten sponsorships. You said, and that's where you're learning. Like, oh, I did like that. I didn't like that, and essentially that's how you're gonna continue to build it and get better. Question for you: are you like I could see maybe some fans, and a question that is coming to me right now is like, are you concerned that you're fighting? The whole fighting aspect of your career and just your lifestyle may be affected, maybe / distracted by taking on a role of becoming a promoter. What's that been in your, or I don't know if that's even, I'm sure you've thought about that.
Oh, yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, in a perfect world, I would love to, be on a resort somewhere with med spa.
Yeah.
No, just training, maybe running on the beach every day. But the reality is that no one's coming to save me, man.
Facts.
No one's coming. It's never going to be like that. I'm a worker, man. I work my ass off. And this is just another step, It's like it's never gonna get easier. It's only a new level.
Facts.
You rise.
So you feel like this is that new level for you.
Absolutely,
And you're 100% built for it.
Absolutely, 100% built for it. I mean,
That'll be sick.
Look, when I went down to Leon, Guanajuato, and here's the thing: I've always wanted the validation of the public. I've always wanted to be respected by the boxing world, and I still do, But and I have to be honest, I've always wanted to, have that fame.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went down there and I did some TV interviews, and they were talking about how everybody in Leon thinks that I edged out. They talked about like the scorecards and all this, and I was like, wow, these people really believe that. I never had that before, because you don't really know what the public. Because there's bullshit on social media, like people pay for like comments and views, and this
You don't
and
know
that.
what people are really thinking.
So I don't really know what the people know. And to go down there and have that respect, and I was on the radio, I was on the news here, I did interview here, on the paper here, and one journalist, Scarlett Perez, asked me, she said, well, what do you think about the violence here? And I didn't understand her question. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I think it's good. The boxing is, it lets you get everything out. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, no. It's like, you mean... my neighborhood, you know, is one of the most at-risk neighborhoods. Like, there's killings, man. There's a lot of bad shit. My grandma still lives right there on the main block, you know, and it's bad, man. It's ugly. And she said to me, and then I finally realized she was talking about that kind of violence, and I was like, well, in that case, you know, I would like to share about, you know, what happened to me and how I was in gang and how my dad saved my ass, man. And I'm from Leon, and I'm from these places, and I went through some of the similar things that maybe some of these kids are experiencing. And to see me at this stage, you know, maybe if they think that it's possible to get there, you know, they could do something, man. And I didn't really think that until she's like, what do you think about the kids that see you from here and see where you gone, and they think that it's possible for them too?
Boom.
I couldn't believe it, bro. I could not fucking believe that.
You're like that hometown hero.
Yep.
Bro, that was insane, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, man, you never. I mean,
I've always wanted to do something that was like a little bit bigger.
Right. Right.
You know, and like me chasing like a whole bunch of other shit, bro. I was like, man, fuck this. This is where I belong, right here. If I could do something here for these kids, shit, man.
It's
really,
calling your name, man, to go back home and really
captured your heart.
Be that example.
Well, look, man, I mean, I'm not from there, and you know, I don't really, you know exactly what they're saying, but just hearing that, bro, like that's gotta be amazing. And you know, man to man, just want to cheer you on, bro. Like this life is bigger than boxing, and obviously I wish you the best. And you've got a bright career, you've got a good head on your shoulders, you've got a great team. But I'm sure hearing just something like that is enough, because that's different. That just goes.
It's different.
You're saving lives, bro. That's.
I mean, I don't know how far I can say anything about that, but like I just know that like I've always wanted a bigger purpose. I mean, I've looked at fighters like Ali, and you know, all these great Manny Pacquiao. You know, one of the all-time greats, one of my great heroes. You know, he gave me my chance to be here to spar. I went over 65 rounds with Manny Pacquiao, and that kind of started generating buzz around me. That got me signed with Top Rank, man. He gave me everything, man. He just by allowing me to be in his camp.
Right. Isn't it crazy though how life becomes a full circle? Because I know we started this, and you said you watched Manny Pacquiao 2009 fight Miguel Cotto, and now somebody's watching you. And you're being that inspiration for that kid that was watching. But not only that, but now it's like, dude, you hit LA, you're sparring with the man who really put you onto boxing, in a sense.
I was in the park, man, doing this. We were doing a charity to get funds for the hurricane that happened down in Mexico. And these little kids, right? In Acapulco. And all these kids started lining up to get my autograph. And I was a little embarrassed, man. I was like, really? I was like, okay. You know, like, it's not a big deal or anything, but they were like, you know, they would get like their hand wraps, man. These like cotton Mexican style hand wraps. You can't even write on them, man. And my signature looked so shitty, man. I felt so bad. And the kids were like, look. I was like, oh no. Bro, but it's like just the fact that like there's kids are gonna remember this forever,
what it meant
man.
to them.
Yeah.
And like I think about how everything is so fleeting. I mean, they try to minimize my media presence in the fight with Pitbull. They didn't show like one of the most well-known rappers of my generation walk me out in the ring. You know, they did a lot of things and then they didn't give me my chance to speak after the fight. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I'm like, so if it's about fame, so if it's about reputation, and if it's about this, bro, that's all fleeting, you know. The minute that the business doesn't want you anymore, they're gonna throw you to the bottom of the garbage can. You know what I mean? And luckily, I've gained enough respect, and now I have some stake in the game where that didn't happen to me. But if they had their chance, why not?
Exactly.
It would freeze me out or make me desperate enough to take a fight that wasn't in my best interest, you know?
Right, right.
And all that, so this is all temporary, man, you know? But the legacy is what's going to last, man. I'm going for immortality in León, Guanajuato, you know? And
you're going to be that hero, man, and Cabrera is going to ring a bell everywhere. But this is your platform here, bro. Whatever they didn't allow you to say in that fight, say right here.
That's right,
Talk
man.
your shit if you want to.
Listen, man, but yeah, so even the fighters, you know, the fighters in León, you know, they're used to getting nothing, you know. I expect to pay my fighters or fighters who are fighting, they're not my fighters fighters that work with our promotions, Bajio Promotions, and
Your partners.
my partners. You know, I want to take a page from Dana White, and if these guys win by knockout, they get a bonus. If they do even better in the next time, well, we'll cut them into some sponsor money. You know what I mean? I want incentives. This is a promoter for, and I was just talking the other day, like if you're in a shitty contract and you want to fight on our card, we won't accept your like if you fight on the contract, we're gonna make it well. Listen, we only fighters that fight on our contract, they get 80% of the purse.
Damn.
You get 20% of the purse. Management, whatever, however you guys want to split that up, that's on you guys. But hey, this is a fair thing.
Hey, I like that.
Shit.
It's more performance based.
Yeah, I like
which
that.
is funny because like
that's insurance.
That's what we do. So I mean, our whole income and way of making money is sales. And sales, there's a lot of companies that run it differently, but the same thing that bothers you bothers the real performers in sales, because there's a lot of companies that have favoritism. It's like, oh, well, I'm cooler with you, even though he's better. I'm a do better with you because if we just have that bond. But really, what you're saying is like, man, boxing is just you want to be fair, and I think that's personally my opinion. Gio, is I think that's the best way to do it.
Yep.
Because then it's like if anybody, like we're having some changes right now in our company. We were just talking about it earlier, literally having this convo. Yeah. And we're saying like, man, if it's going to be truly performance based and we end up getting paid less or more, and if you get mad, like there's only one person to get mad with, it's yourself.
Right.
And I like that. You're leveling out the playing field, and I think it's going to go well for you because Dana White is a smart man. What he's doing is he's rewarding good performances.
Exactly.
Right. At that point, it's like, going from a place where there's so much, there's so many traps and you got to learn, the strategy, the politics, to maybe a promotion, with Gio is like, over here, I just got to do what I'm best at, which is to box.
I got to do.
Yeah.
If you could do it, you could do it. If you lose,
you can,
lose, Yeah. But at least let's just make it fair,
Shit,
man.
hey, bro, sign me up over there. I might fight in this promotion. I'll make my pro debut real quick.
Throw you back in there,
I'm
bro.
back in the
still
game.
Got it. Yeah.
Sorry,
that's
guys,
awesome, man. I'm excited to see that, and I really would love. How far is Leon? Like, I don't. I'm not Mexican, so I don't really.
I think it's about 3 hours and a half, maybe 3 hour flight, 4 hour flight.
Do you have the date? Do you have the opponent? It's
gonna be Saturday, February 17th in El Domo de la Feria or El Palenque. We should know in the next day or two.
You said February 18th.
February 17th. It's gonna be a Saturday, February 17th. For updates, just follow Gio Cabrera Boxing and Bajio Promotions on Instagram. It's gonna be sick, man. You guys will be there. You'll be sitting in the VIP section.
Hey, say less.
And listen, man, one of the most amazing things for me too is my family's name will be remembered in Leon
Straight
after
up.
this forever.
I love that.
They talked about the government may buy 1,000 tickets, and they wanted to give it away to some at-risk neighborhoods. And I said, well, let me give it to my neighborhood. So I'm gonna go door to door and give away 1,000 tickets personally. Say, here you go, man. Here you go, man.
Are you gonna move out there, or maybe have a second property?
I'm definitely gonna have something out there too, man. I mean, every door is opening there, man. I'm gonna make everything from. I mean, I live in the shoe capital of Mexico, leather capital. I'm gonna make some Cleto Reyes style, very high quality leather, Mexican fine craftsmanship, boxing apparel, everything that you could think of, my own job, bro. But
I like it because what you said earlier, right? Like originally you were like, okay, why the peso when the dollar's gonna pay me more? But why do people think that way? They think that way because the theme is the dollar will pay you more, and theoretically, the dollar is worth more than the peso. But you're coming in this shit like, that's true if you can work if you can work the American dollar, but you're gonna work essentially the peso, where you can make more money even than these American fighters. That'll
Straight
be
up. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's incredible script.
Bro, it's crazy.
It's good.
Life.
It's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's
I like the way
itself,
it sounds,
man. It's writing itself.
But let's go back, bro. This wouldn't have happened if you didn't have the balls to take on that risk. A lot of fighters would. I'm sure they got offered the fight and they're like, "Nah, Pitbull, he might beat me. I don't want this."
Well, he got offered everybody.
Right.
And he said yes to all of them too.
Right, but I'm sure that the fight was offered to other fighters as well.
Yeah.
but they didn't take the risk that he was willing to
show
take.
his boldness, like he didn't turn anybody down.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah. And that's the message for everybody, man. Don't be afraid to take risks because you don't know where it's gonna lead you to. Look where it's gotten you. Yo, you didn't win that fight, but you know what? You won the people.
I want so much more, man. I want so much more.
Yeah, exactly.
And you weren't like, it's not like in the back of your head you were like, okay, you're looking to win something. This really all came down just to you, like proving something to yourself, right? Where your beliefs, you know, of just wanting to be fair and take those risks. Like it's funny how I want to say God works, but it's truly those with good hearts that get rewarded. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you had no weird intentions. It wasn't like you're out here trying to play people, and you were just genuinely like, let me fight some good. Yeah, how can I help them? But also let me fight some good competition. And
because you want to test yourself truly. A lot of these fighters say I want to test myself, But yo, once they send the contract,
test comes,
yo, you know they're gonna, like you said earlier, they're gonna look on how to take the least risk for the most money. How is it that
it's boring?
Yo, I don't want to touch.
I want high risk, high money.
Yeah,
or I mean,
let it be fair.
Everything has to be worth the risk. If you're a beginner, fight a beginner. You know, fight a beginner.
Right.
It's like, well, you know what it is. That's why I lost a little bit of respect for Pitbull, because he has a fucking bully mentality. I mean, who the fuck do you think you're lying to if you fight 20 guys that have been knocked out a bunch of times and you knock them out and you're walking around like you're Mike Tyson? Like, get the hell out of here.
Lying to himself.
And then you want to make me believe that? That's why I laughed at him. That's why I was like, come on, man. Like, get out of here.
We know the truth.
Yeah.
I can see through that bullshit he's
like,
saying.
I see, well, guys knock guys out and they got that pop, man. First of all, whether, I respect your skill no matter what. You know what I mean? But, like, just the way people carry themselves, like,
yo, be humble type of shit. Like, be real to yourself, because the only person you're lying to is yourself.
Like, I'm not here to talk shit about nobody, but, like, that's the only thing that these motherfuckers like these days, you know? They want me to go on Instagram talking shit to people, and it's funny. That's me, Maxie Hughes just calling me out on Instagram. He did it respectful as hell, though, but, like, that is what worked.
Yeah.
Just talking on social media to, like, opponents, you know, is what got
And I
traction.
like that approach, man. Like, again, going back to, like, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, you would see them doing interviews together, and they would keep it classy.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, they would make fun. They would joke.
Yeah,
like,
would
that's
joke
how
around.
I try to be at with the Pitbull thing, you know, the height thing. And, like,
yeah.
You know, we were at the weigh-in together. He was all short. He was trying to look at me, all growling and drooling.
But there's a level of respect there, and I feel like sometimes these fighters have lost that there.
I had so many Pitbull jokes just in case he wanted to get out of hand, but I decided to keep it classy, bro.
Yeah. Nah, Gio, man, honestly, bro, I'm proud of you, of what you're doing, and this honestly, this wave, this lane that you're making for yourself and pioneering. You're showing these fighters that, yo, man, I don't need this management or this promoter. I could do it myself, but if I put in that work and build my resume and build, you know, when the people win these fights. So proud of you, man, truly.
Absolutely, brother. Yes, sir. Yeah, no, I mean, it's not what I was expecting. Like, I thought we were gonna, you know, talk more about like what's to come next, like in a fighting and opponents, but clearly you have vision, bro. You have vision, and you're a visionary, and keep tapping into that. Like, I know a lot of people that, you know, have big vision, but they never take that action, and you're doing the right thing. And you know, for us, like with the podcast and insurance and all these other endeavors we're doing, like business owner too, you have your own LLC, like just keep going and trust your gut. You know, you're really good about that, and you know when somebody's being real and genuine with you and when they're not. And you know, life, as you're seeing, it has a way of working itself out. So
repaying you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
but those that don't put in the work, they ain't getting paid.
That's it, brother. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. I know you've been very busy, so we appreciate your time. Absolutely. Awesome. We're gonna do this again.
Sorry about it. I was on my phone. I totally forgot. My little sister just gets out of school in 2 minutes. I had to text my neighbor, "Hey, can you go pick her up?"
Nah,
my neighbor's picking her up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I bet I had to take care of all that.
Yeah, guys. Gio Cabrera. What's your Instagram, brother?
Gio Cabrera Boxing.
We'll put it in there, and
there it is.
You know, obviously tag him. Give him a follow. He's doing big things. Support the guy. I mean, you hear it here. He's being honest. He's keeping it real. If that relates to you, if you feel what he feels, what we feel, like, let's show some love and support. And
honestly, yo, to the real, true fight fans, you know, check this out. Listen to his story. I'm not talking to the couch fans. The couch fans are always gonna
go with what the media.
What the media says. But let's look at let's do our own real homework and really, build your opinion off of that.
February 17th, Saturday,
February 17th, León, Guanajuato, baby. It's going to be a show, man. I just want to say thank you to all my fans. Everybody, mi gente mexicana, que espero que seguir ganando su respeto. Everybody in Chicago, everybody in León, Guanajuato, everybody in Seattle, all the places that I've touched, man. Thank you. You're all part of my journey, and we're going to do some big things, man.
Hell yeah.
Let's get it.
Thank
you, brother. Appreciate it.
We didn't even touch on the Gable Flores, man.
We'll do another one. Yeah.